This is my third year working with PolarTREC. The first 2 years we worked with John Wood, was a teacher from Huntington Beach, California, and he was actually with another researcher at my site, but the second year I worked pretty much exclusively with him, and then this year I applied to work with a PolarTREC teacher of my own, and so this year I'm working with Tom Lane. John was great. He had so much energy and was really up for anything, which I think is really important in a PolarTREC teacher. He wanted to be out in the field, he wanted to learn, he wanted to help, and I think that quality in him was just really helpful and kind of inspired those of us who are working with him. You've got long days in the field. Sometimes the work is just the same over and over again. And when you have a new fresh face in there, someone who's really excited to learn about it, it made me more excited about the work. So there's the research that we're doing, and that's primarily why he's here, but there are other things that he brought to the table. For example, when it's really cold out, if you throw up boiling water into the air, then it will mist. And so we took a lot of video and pictures of that. And that was just another fun thing to do. Yeah, when it's really cold, you don't really want to go outside. But here's a fun way to experience the place that we live and teach his students something a little different. I think most about communicating science, because when you spend too much time thinking about the same thing, you just sort of understand and assume that people around you understand the same level as you do, especially if you work in a lab like I do, where everyone works on very similar things. And so there are some things that are just really assumed. And so having a PolarTREC teacher there really forced me to think about the way that I talk about my work. And John was really good about saying, okay, stop. Now, what does that mean? And so then I could see where other people might also have hang-ups on my work and what was necessary to explain. So I think sort of professionally working as a scientist, it's important to have that elevator speech so that you can tell someone, or next on the airplane, tell me about your research. And he was really helpful in refining that, but I think also in giving me a more nuanced understanding. I visited John's classroom now twice, and I visited Tom's classroom. And I'll speak mostly with John's. They're middle school students, and these kids are really bright. They were just asking nuanced questions that I think a lot of the general public would really have no idea about. And this about carbon, and this about photosynthesis, and they were asking. I was just really surprised by the type of questions that they were asking, and I think that speaks really to John as a teacher, but also to PolarTREC, to give him the opportunity to work with someone and show the kids this hands-on science that they would not get otherwise. And towards the end, they were asking really detailed questions like, exactly how do the snow fences work, and why did you do this one thing this way, and tell me exactly again how the carbon works in this way. And that was really cool to see the progress over the time that he was here. And I think that PolarTREC is really reaching students and giving them an understanding of the way that science really works, which is fun most of the time. You can really have an appreciation of the outdoors and the environment and of science, and that it all comes together. Yeah, I think that in general, that was just a really great outcome of PolarTREC.